Is this glued on?
No, it's string by string.
Because I would be worried to like rub it up against something and the beads fall off.
I mean,
the hats I buy, that happens. So we drove to Oklahoma last night. We stayed near a park in a nice little neighborhood called the Paseo Art District. We grabbed dinner at the Iron Star, a beverage at the Pump Bar, and we drove through the stockyard. On the way, my wife did research, as only she can do, on businesses we could interview. We left voicemails and text messages for a bunch of different cool brands, and I think we booked one that we are most excited to interview, Shorty's Caboy Hattery in the Stockyards. We picked up an old copy of the Western Horse and Gun magazine, and if that ain't cowboy, I don't know what is. And here's what we know so far from the article in here. Shorty, named for being the youngest in her family, not sure if she's actually the shortest, she was fed up with not knowing how to shape hats. So after her father's hat was ruined by a bunch of hat shaping hacks, she bought a custom hat business from another guy named Shorty. Go figure. So she launched her business in 1990 with minimal funds and a ton of passion. Her authenticity and attention to detail has paid off, as she's now a globally recognized brand within her unique tribe for real cowboy and cowboy fashion enthusiasts. I'll let you know which category I fall into. And she's one of the only women in the US that owns her own custom cowboy hat business. So we're gonna check in with Jennifer, who runs the international side of the business, to learn how they've grown and how they have stayed local while keeping engaged with customers around the globe. Let's get going. We're gonna check in with Jennifer. We're heading to the store now. Talk about your current business model.
Okay.
Where do you sell?
So we sell here in the Stockyards and in Oklahoma City. We've been down here, like I said, for 30 years, and we have successfully grown to the point to where now we have 3 trailers out on the road. And when I say that, that means we are basically taking our storefront, loading it in 3 trailers, and we go and set up at different equine events, rodeos, conventions, and trade shows, and sell our products. So we either sell the ready-made hats that are already ready, somebody wants to come in and does not want to wait the custom time to have a hat made, or we start their custom order there instead if they can't get here to Oklahoma City. So then we do that too.
And that also leads into how you've pivoted, or have you pivoted to online in the COVID era?
Yes, we have tried to get really creative. I'm not gonna lie, it's been a struggle. Naturally, we've had a website for 6 years. We've kind of grown in some of the things. We used to just use it as a website just to sell a couple things, to have another source of avenue of revenue to come in. But we've really used it, instead of using it as a gallery, we've used it as a place to sell hats. So for us, it's kind of a gray area. We do sell other makers' products, like our straw hats. We don't make them, so we're an authorized dealer of another company. So we sell the straw hats online because we can ship those. And we sell another maker's hats online that we can shape and ship. So like, I've been conversing with somebody right now in New Zealand via email, because our website's only set up for US shipping because of the shipping. So a lot of our international customers will email, then we get all the correspondence. Like, they'll see a product on the website and then we'll send it out that way.
Okay, is your site transactional right now, if you want it? So you can actually purchase something on the site?
Yeah.
Tell us more about that consumer experience. If somebody finds your company, they want to purchase the hat, they're actually going to click buy from overseas, or at some point do you defer them over to an email?
We defer them over to an email. So when they get to the shopping cart, there's a spot on there that if they are international, if they're trying to get the international address, it will say, for international orders, please email. So we give them an email, and then they communicate with me on the backside, and then we get all the information, and then we still process their order internally.
Okay, so you do an offline engagement.
Yes.
What about shipping rates and regulations? Have you run into any issues there?
Yes, people don't realize the cost of shipping of a hat, and I didn't either 5-6 years ago, but we've dealt with damages. We've dealt with elongated times with natural causes happening, depending, tornadoes, hurricanes, snowstorms, pandemics. For our products, what we do on our custom hats, our hats that we are, because we are actually licensed by the United States Fish and Wildlife Department, because our hats are made out of beaver fur.
All of the hats?
All of ours that we manufacture. And you would not be amazed the number of random phone calls that we get asking, my granddad trapped 6 beavers. Can you make a hat? We're like, sorry.
So you don't take other people's beavers. So if anyone's out there about to ship their beaver
you can't ship your beaver.
They don't do that. Okay.
No.
So you get your own beavers.
Yeah, we get our own felts. We have a maker that makes all of our bodies that we've used for 30 years. And then we get our product where we pick up on production. But our hats, because they are beaver fur, we are licensed because we are an animal byproduct exporter.
So first of all, how did you figure out that this was an issue? And it's only for overseas, because domestically you can sell it.
Yes, domestically we can sell
So
it.
at what point in the process were you like, oh wait, this person wants to buy it, but we don't have the certification? Or
I honestly can't answer that one because that happened prior to me working. So when I started working here, we were licensed by the Fish and Wildlife Department. So there must have been something that somebody had, when they had shipped a hat, like with a hide overlay or something on it, they had marked the outside of the box, and Postal Service probably stopped it. But
that's interesting also for people. The HS code, which is the harmonized code to figure out what a product would be codified as, and when they're shipping overseas, the customs would be actually charging that appropriate amount.
Yes.
So if you have a jacket that's totally synthetic, but then it has beaver fur, all of a sudden it triggers that new HS code.
Yes. So we're licensed by the Fish and Wildlife Department. So in turn, it kind of is a pride thing to tell people that, our hats are made out of beaver fur, so we can't just ship it internationally. So we always, the amount of our customers, a lot of them are horse show people. So we always encourage them, if they have somebody within the United States that we can ship their hat to, then they can send it off the way that they can. So a lot of international in the equestrian world or whatever, a lot of them travel internationally. So a lot of them will be over here in the United States for like 3 or 4 months. And so they'll be like, just ship it to my trainer because I have a horse over there. I bought a horse. So ship it to my trainer and I'll come and get it. Or my trainer's actually flying over in 3 weeks, so just ship it. So we kind of encourage them, but we also like to let them know that, this is an animal byproduct.
Is there more cost incurred from the consumer side if it's endangered? What's that look like, really?
So shipping internationally, US dollars starts at like $275.
Just for the shipping?
Just for the shipping.
And the hats run at, what's the average?
Middle of the road runs $775, and then it can go all the way up to $2,500.
So you're in most cases over the de minimis, meaning so
Yes.
it's triggered tax and duties, but on top of that, there's an extra.
Yes. And going into shipping, when you were asking about shipping rates, we are shipped off of the outer dimensions of a box. Mm-hmm. So people don't understand why it costs $35 to ship a hat. In our terms, that's what we charge, and we've gone up on our rates. But, they're like, well, I just shipped it for US for $15. Mm-hmm. Well, probably because you didn't insure it. We insure all of our boxes. So there are extra accrues from the business side that we have to take into account for, because if we don't insure a box, if a box gets damaged, we can't file a claim. There's no insurance on it.
That brings up another interesting question. How do you deal with returns from overseas consumers?
It's one of those sticky gray areas that we kind of really have to stand firm on, because we are it is our product. Just the fees on us as a business that we will tell them, like I have a customer last year, I haven't actually talked to her in the last 6 months, but she's supposed to be, she got her hat, she came to the United States for a horse show. We did all the head shapes and measurements and everything like that. And then we made her hat and we shaped it and we sent it to her. No downfall to her, but she doesn't feel like it sits straight on her head. Mm-hmm. So she's not happy with it. And I tried to explain it to her, our guys do the best that they can, because you're not here. It's not any fault to them. And I try to encourage that, so they don't feel like, well, I'm the one that has a messed up head. So, and I'm like, well, what I would recommend is you can send it to us, but once we turn around and ship it back, we've got to go through the same process from the United States Fish and Wildlife Department. So I'm always encouraging international customers to, if they have somebody inside the United States, if they can get it to us and we can get it back to that person in the United States, then, so it's just a different animal, no pun intended, but.
Could you tell me, who do you use to ship domestically and internationally?
Domestically, we use UPS and USPS. We found that their rates for us are just a lot different, and our sales rep for UPS, we've shifted 3 reps in the last 5 years, but I'm very hands-on with them. So dealing with a claim, we had a damaged straw hat claim, and UPS did not accept the package damage claim because they said our boxes didn't meet the standards of the shipping. Well, our boxes are custom built for us too. So one of 2 thing pitfall is, because they are a custom built box, they don't have the cardboard inspection circle on them. So ours don't do that, but if we need to call them, I mean, they can. But our sales rep that's now, he has told UPS, he's like, because we've been using these boxes probably.
They're pretty sturdy.
They're pretty sturdy. They're a double, I'm guessing they're called double wall boxes. But UPS, it didn't meet the claim for what we did, and our UPS guy counteracted and emailed and came in one day, and we told him that we have used these boxes for at least 20 years. They're logoed, so if a box gets lost, you can obviously know our business name and look it up. Our website's on this thing. And he said these boxes meet their standards. And we've also had a situation too in shipping that still bumfuzzles me to this day. And we will double ship them. We will double box them. So like we ship a customer's custom felt hat. We put it in this box. And then we have an outer box that we ship it in. So it's double boxed for shipping. We had shipped 3 hats to New Mexico that were all 3 in a box. As you can see, all of our boxes are logoed. Oh, that one doesn't.
Oh wow! Look at this thing.
Yeah, it's a
I didn't
very.
even notice that.
Yeah, it's a scientific
Yeah.
project. But our hats will have our name in it. They have our logo. I mean, so anything that's relevant to us. The downfall is we shipped 3 hats in one box, and the box has gone missing. It was part of a collateral damage here in Oklahoma City when it flooded so bad here, probably March. We did 2 of them. One box of shipment, 1 of 2. We never got the second box. So lo and behold, on all the shipping claims and everything like that, the shipper deemed that they discarded the boxes. So that's one of our biggest things, is because our boxes are logoed, our product is logoed. How does that shipper get that right and that justification to discard products?
Internationally, why do you use USPS?
Rates.
And they also facilitate customs because they're kind of a government?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How different would you say the rates are? And do you ever have customers who say, hey, I'd like more of an express solution?
Oh, we do. And we are straight up honest with them and let them know that there will be additional rates too on the express. But, you know, we can only do so much. Once I walk it to the post office, you know, some customers get upset. They're like, well, but you mailed it to me on Friday. I don't have it yet. Well, here's tracking. It got stopped. I have no control over that.
Now, I understand that you are the fraud mitigation service for the company. In a sense, how do you deal with fraud?
We really haven't had too much, but I have noticed over the last probably 6 to 8 months, just getting the emails. We had an email come through, and I learned first to look at the email address. If it's not a .com, a .gov, or a CA for the country or anything, I kind of just push it to the side, but I will also read it. This customer was like, I'm interested in buying, 10 of your products. Like, it was very small. So I was like, okay, maybe this is a real thing, because the quantity was very small. But then I read further in the email, it was, okay, my buyer would like to buy, and they will send a check to come get my supplier to come pick it up. How much. So I just followed through and wrote the quote of this is what it would cost. I just took time to do it. And then I emailed, and they're like, okay, so we'd like to do it. And I was like, okay, I need a credit card for a deposit right now. So I kind of learned how to watch the phishing scam a little bit. And so they never wrote back after I asked them. And so I was like.
So, I mean, if certain customers buy something off a credit card, they have 30 days to decline it.
Yep.
And you'd have already shipped it.
Yep.
Is that an issue or concern?
No, it's not really something that we've actually concerned ourselves with, because the number of our customers are actually our family members. So they are actually truly buying a real product, and we're selling it to a real person.
Yeah.
Because it's all within the custom realm. So they're buying a custom hat. We already have all the tools of a head shape and a measurement, so we can match the beginning steps up.
Yeah, and then that's part of that value of having that customer relationship. Yep. When you're doing a custom build, you can actually engage directly.
Yes.
Talking about that in terms of volumes, how many items or how many units would you say you sell, including the U.S. globally? And then,
oh, wow! I mean, we are a $1 million company.
Yeah.
Built from the ground up 30 years ago.
And then how many units do you sell overseas? You just said.
I would say annually, international. I would say probably no more than 50
units. Okay.
Yes.
Let's talk about your website.
Okay.
What have you done to optimize your website to better engage with overseas consumers?
That's a good question. And so that's just going to follow through on not making it more of a gallery of what our website was set up as just like a picture book. We've actually made it to where people can shop it. But again, the international side, they have to send an email in. But they're letting customers know internationally that we carry other products, i.e. straw hats. Because right now in Australia, it's summertime. It's the beginning of their summertime. So they may not have vendors that can shape or sell a straw hat. So they're like, well, I've come to Shorty's. I've come to the United States for a horse show. Let me see what new straw hats. So we allow it so we can shape it.
But that's very astute, though. Obviously, changing the SKU selection or the certain item selection for other seasonal differences.
Yes.
You also put more text about your shipping international and with the calls to action.
Yes.
How about your phone number? Have you optimized it?
We put our phone number on there. We have our website. We have our social media outlets, Facebook and Instagram as well.
Great.
So we have communication on the back side of those. But we've made sure on the international rates for the business side that there is covered in the bottom of our website. It does say shipping. We have Q&As that shipping international that we've kind of done the homework on and said, if you get a hat, we are not responsible for the customs duties. It is on the buyer. So we've kind of been more proactive on the business side of putting all that information straight up. So that way, if a customer emails back and says, well, I had to pay customs, I can just send them the link and say, we already have this in that we cannot. So I've helped, and the girl that built our website and Shorty herself, we've made sure we've kind of helped cover basis, but still some of it is a learning curve. Every 6 months we come into a situation or something and we're like, well, why didn't I think about that? So we've made adjustments. So as learning curves come in, we make some of those adjustments to cause it not to happen again.
Yeah, that's great. Obviously, you're agile enough to do that. So really what you're doing is a DDU solution, delivery duties unpaid, where you're shipping it to a consumer, but it's their responsibility to pay the duties upon arrival.
Correct, yes.
And obviously, you can't get more complicated than in a wildlife product cross-border, yet it doesn't deter you from going global.
No.
What have you done to build your brand overseas?
We have several customers in the equine world that have come over here, and we are the only hats that they wear. So a lot of it is actually going to be truly word of mouth. That our products are a handmade product made by 9 sets of human hands that have still been here. So the quality, the integrity, the pride that our employees take into the after fact of what they get. But most of it internationally is word of mouth.
So it's influencers, if you will. It's hard to imagine.
It is.
But they're essentially influencers, key opinion leaders in the industry. And then you engage with them on Instagram as well and social?
Yeah, Instagram, Facebook. We do have our website. We change our images on our website quite a bit. And then with some of the associations that we're involved in, a lot of them do have international demographics.
That's interesting too, is leveraging associations, which are multipliers overseas. What is something that you've done from a marketing perspective, or something that somebody sent in, a user, a photo, image that you're most excited or proud about, or you think was the oddest thing?
Oh, the oddest thing. I like the weird things. Shorty's actually working on a project with a customer that he wants a hat one way. It's like he's taken a hat and put it 2 different ways. And in real life, I don't know if we can actually do it.
You like a Jekyll Hyde kind of thing?
Well, it's open crown, like firm and stiff on the top, but then he wants the brim to be soft and floppy.
Okay, so it'd be like this part would be floppy.
Yes. So she's kind of working on. Yeah, she's kind of working on it right now. So, but there are,
So them posting it obviously is valuable for you from a social perspective.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we try to on our media outlets. We always encourage everybody to make sure to tag us when you wear our products, as well as our business partner products too. So that way we build the rapport with our business partners in the products that we sell, like in the straw hats. We're an authorized dealer for Rodeo King Hat Company and American. So in turn, we want to support the businesses that are actually still supporting us too. So, it's just a balance of sharing and everything like that.
How has your business been impacted from COVID?
As a small business, it was a gut punch. So 2 of our major shows that we do, and it's actually Shorty shows that she's out on the road. One of them is the Houston Rodeo and Livestock Show. So that's one of our biggest revenue sources, as well as all the other businesses that are there in the same avenue doing trade shows and everything. Getting shut down within 10 days of a 30-day show.
Yeah, wow.
So there was that one. And that one was not a postponed show. So that one was a huge cancellation that cannot be rescheduled until next year. Another one of our shows that we've done for many years and it got canceled is the All-American Quarter Horse Congress which is a horse show, which is a 30-day horse show too in Columbus, Ohio. They canceled it. So a lot of our big revenues have really come down, and that's where we've had to get creative in figuring out different avenues of going different places, coming up to different trade shows, and just our marketing on our side of, okay, let's keep pushing forward, just stay with the momentum. And my term that I've been personally in business is let's just ride the wave while we can.
What would you say, or can you quantify the decrease in revenue from an offline perspective and any increases online?
I would say increase online because people have been at home. Now for the first probably 4 weeks of this pandemic, logical person is like, well, I'm home. I've lost my job. I'm not going to spend any money. We've all been in that. But now people are spending it, they're learning to manage what they have is what I would say politely. So now we've seen a more increase in online sales because people are staying local. They may be getting back out into like the horse show world where they may have an association 2 hours away, have a horse show. They're like, oh, I'm going to go to 2 hours. I'm okay going 2 hours, but I don't want to drive 12 hours to Memphis, Tennessee to go show a horse. So they're shopping, more online to probably stay locally based at home to help meet their needs. But farmers and ranchers, cattle guys, they have to wear a hat year round.
What's interesting though with social distancing is horses are pretty nice and social distanced. And B, these rims keep you far apart. Like if I put this on, I can't get close to you.
Yes, ideally, yes.
So, and you could put a shade. Have you thought about putting maybe just like a clear? It'd be clear so you can see it.
It would be clear, but it probably, when you shape a hat, I don't think ideally it would work.
You'd have to have a custom type of face mask. I'd like it a little bit asymmetrical. Yep. Okay. Can you talk about, do you know much about the SBDC, the Small Business Development Center?
No, I do not.
A lot of stuff coming out lately, the PPP loan, which is for payroll, and the EIDL, which I presume you may
Yes, as a small business, we have applied for a lot of them.
They also have something called a STEP grant. In certain states, you can actually use that for website optimization and for cross-border digital marketing. Essentially, that allows a grant of anywhere between $3,000 to $10,000, depending on the state. They'll match it. There's a federal amount, and then the states will match some of that. And that can be applied for website optimization, cross-border digital marketing, relabeling if it's unique to, or regulations which are unique to exporting.
Our director, Debbie, she has been of the stockyards. She's been a very big advocate of taking care of all of us small businesses. Trying to give us the information from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma State. So she's always sending out, now's the time. So she's been very advocate too, but that would be a good thing also, not just for us, is to send out this information to businesses down here in the stockyards too.
You're a women-owned business for the most part. Yep. Women managed, it seems, a lot of the key roles.
Key roles, yes.
What's the worst part about managing men? I can see the list going.
It's, I want to say, communication, organization, attention to detail. And the reason why I say take that a step farther, because given it's like motors in vehicles, your factory motors, a lot of your employees are women because of their attention to detail in those motors compared to a man just wants to build it and get it done. But the attention to detail. So like our attention to detail on the female side, it's just a natural instinct. So it's one of those that it's a hot stack mess of papers over here, which that's what my desk looks like, I'm not gonna lie, but I know what's over in that stack. But yet there are days I would like to be a better person and organize a lot more, but the attention to detail is just, I think, more of a female instinct. And there are a lot of men that have it, but it's, there are demographic and different challenges too.
Designing your hats. Who designs or who makes most of your hats?
Our staff of 6. It takes Shorty's years of her actually building hats, and then our team of production here is over 100 years of craftsmanship.
You mentioned beading. Is this an example?
Yes, that is one.
Could you talk a little bit about who does the beading?
So we have 2 ladies that are Native American heritage from Oklahoma that actually do all of our beadwork on our custom hats. They're done bead by bead, string by string. The customer picks the colors. So we've got the bead chart. They pick the colors. They'll pick a foundation color. So like on this hat, the foundation is black. The base color is black. So they pick a base color, and then the customer will pick 4 to 5 different colors, or some customers like 2 colors. And then the girls will design the pattern. They do all their magic. They lay it out, and then they bead it. When they bring it in, the hats are always open crown and flat brim, which means they are not shaped like this. So the girls that do the beadwork never see a true finished product. And both of our girls that do it, or ladies do it, they are both from Oklahoma, Native American heritage. So we try to stay true to that value of where beadwork actually came from. And Shorty has Native American heritage too, so it kind of goes hand in hand. So Cheyenne, who actually did this hat, she was in Las Vegas 2 years ago at the National Finals Rodeo, and her and her husband had saved to go on a trip, and she was in one of the convention centers going down an escalator, and she saw a hat on that had beadwork, and she nudged her husband. She was like, "That's my hat." And I don't think he really processed it or really didn't get the vibe, and she was like, "That's my hat." And so I don't know what the conversation. So I encouraged her next time. I'm like, when you go do that, just go up and run up to them like you've seen them. You haven't seen a lost friend in 5 or 6 years, and be like, "I made your hat. I mean, I didn't make your hat, but I did the beadwork. Shorty's made the hat." And I said, go do that, because again, the customers that wear a hat, we want them to know that these are done by human hands. And I think sometimes we get lost in the commotion of, oh, I have a custom beaded hat that was actually sat and took somebody 20 hours to do a hat. So, they wear them and they take pride with them, but I think sometimes customers lose the fact that it took 20 hours just to do this beadwork.
20 hours to do the beadwork?
Yeah.
I'm always curious, is this glued on?
No, it's string by string.
Because I would be worried to rub it up against something and the beads fall off.
I mean,
the hats I buy, that happens.
We have seen a couple of customers that have had hats that the string and the beads, we've had to repair them. But in retrospect, it's just common courtesy on how you take care of your hat and your products that the beads and everything will stay on.
Yeah, it's beautiful work. And I never appreciated hats as much as I do now.
Thanks. I never did either until I started working for Shorty's. So
I think it's time for me to try on and get fitted for a hat. Click on the video, subscribe, follow us, to stay local, go global. This is Vambassador.